There's a phenomenon happening in the spiritual community right now. Where did the bliss go? Am I still connected to the other realms? Hi there, beautiful souls. I'm Michèle Duquet. Welcome to my channel, Soulful and Unplugged, a channel about the spiritual awakening journey where I show you how to live a more joyful life by helping you navigate your human journey through your soul's perspective. There's a phenomenon happening in the spiritual community. So many of the people that I work with, many different people that had a huge awakening and then ended up kind of today feeling this strange kind of like, where did the bliss go? Am I still connected to the other realms? I've had so many interesting conversations about this because I've been going through this too. I remember it's not that, my spiritual awakening happened when I was later in life. It happened when I was really, really young, but there was a honeymoon period where it just felt so beautiful, incredibly just joyous and thrilling. When something's new, it just feels so alive and the discovery process is so exciting. So I've had these conversations. We talk about this because, I go through this where I go, wow, it doesn't feel as blissful as it used to feel. Like, what is this? This is really interesting. So I dove deeper into it, not just to find out what's going on with me, but to find out what is going on in the community at large, since so many of the people that I'm in touch with are going through this same thing. So what's going on is that we're all deeply affected by what is going on around the world right now. The global energies are changing so fast, and we're all going through a detox, a major detox. Even if we've gone through that years ago in our first awakening process, the energies are just, if you can imagine, like bubbling up, all of the bubbling up of old energies that used to be locked in place. Well, there's so much movement that these energies are no longer locked in place, and they're really bubbling up to the surface for us to, see it. But what that does is it affects us at a personal level. All of us are affected at a personal level by this and by all of the changes that are happening energetically around the globe. Well, this is actually a very natural process of the spiritual awakening journey. There is that moment in time when the honeymoon is over and the rose-colored glasses come off and we see certain things to be clear that we couldn't see before because it's being brought to the surface, and every cell in our body is shifting energies. So it's natural that as the world is awakening, that this same phenomenon would happen. It's kind of like a second wave of what we've already gone through in our awakening. The global shift is affecting us personally, but it feels very individual because it is affecting us at a very deep personal level. What that means and what that feels like is not feeling all that blissful right now. And yet 10 years ago, when this large spiritual community started connecting with each other, there was so much excitement about the world that was unfolding, about this new world, co-creating this new loving oneness kind of energy. When I tap into the energetic realms and I ask them about the timing, the answer I always get is highly disappointing. The answer I get is 200 to 300 years. I'm, what? 200 to 300 years? That's a long time. But yet it makes complete sense. When you think about a shift in consciousness this large, to become a world of spiritually conscious souls, that's a long process. But what is happening in the present moment and right now is part of that shift. It's this massive global consciousness working together because of the last 2 years we've just gone through. The last 2 years of pandemic and lockdowns and restrictions have forced us to live in a world of much deeper self-reflection and reassess things in our lives that we didn't like, things in our lives that we wanted to change, things in our lives that we didn't have much choice but to see clearly because it was right in our face. In the bliss aspect, what that means is, as part of the spiritual maturing process, is that ability to face reality as it is and allow organic shifts in our energy to take place in a flowing way, to surrender to that process. And the more we surrender to it, the more peace we feel. It's when we resist what we're feeling. So let's say we start resisting that we're not feeling bliss. That resistance will create more of that discomfort, that internal fight. And in order to cultivate more of a peaceful heart, a peaceful soul, and tap into that beautiful bliss that is available at all times, it takes longer. And how this has affected me personally is that sometimes I'll be going about my day and having to deal with some difficult situations, and then I doubt. I go, am I going to be able to tap into that energetic realms as easily as I always have? And it is. And what's happening is that you may not feel the bliss that you used to feel, but what is happening is the distance between your physical reality and the energetic realms is gone. The access to it is faster and more instant than it ever was. And that's my experience. So I'm reassured by that. And I can go with the flow of what's really happening and embrace whatever is going on in my life and do what I need to do to bring myself back to that beautiful space through meditation or through walks in nature or through connecting with other friends who are going through the same thing. Knowing that it is a 200 to 300 year process and becoming more and more at ease and comfortable with the present moment is really all I have to do. Because as soon as I embrace what's happening in the present moment, I can immediately tap into the most beautiful bliss that is still here. And that connection to the energetic realms and connection to spirit and connection to that oneness and the beauty in the universe is always there in the present moment. So while we may feel a little nostalgia for those easier spiritual awakening times, don't worry, it's all part of it. This is also part of it. By surrendering to what is going on and accepting that it is the world shifting energies and discovering a higher consciousness, awakening to that higher consciousness. In the end, that is the beauty of it. That is the spirituality of it. And that is what we can tap into because we are all one and that oneness always exists. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah! Sending lots and lots and lots of love. Bye for now.